kill the 2 minutes before we actually see sunset by telling you guys why we have this cannon and why we built this boat, because it's the same story. Unless you guys went online and read the story, it's all there on the website. Raise your hand if you know the story. Nobody? Nobody? 2 months ago you knew it? And the rest of you are going to fail the quiz, right?
She already forgot.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So the story behind the cannon and the boat, this boat that you guys are on, our Fame, this 22-year-old Fame, was built as a replica of a Fame that was built back in 1810. That Fame was built actually not in Salem, but down the coast in Gloucester. And these boats were built for fishing, mostly for hand lining for codfish. Although sometimes they're starting to use these boats to jig for mackerel. And so the larger schooners of this class, this is what's actually called a tobacco boat, or sometimes called jiggers, because that's what they were doing with it. But now I'm done talking about fishing because I don't think it's that interesting, and that's not what made the Fame famous. She was built for fishing in 1810, but then you guys all remember from 9th grade American history what happens next. War of 1812 happens next, exactly. Within like a year and a half of this boat being launched, we had this thing that we Americans call, and the Canadians call it, the War of 1812. Anyone know what the rest of the world calls that war?
They just don't.
Because it's a big one. Big war, big important war. That's the war that starts in the 1790s when they cut off King Louis's head and they start the French Revolution. And that turns into the Napoleonic Wars. And when you take it all together, you got about 25 years of nonstop warfare with all the countries in Europe beating each other over the head and attacking each other's colonies and burning each other's ships. And all that time, neutral Americans from places like Salem are trading with both sides and making a lot of money. So this is a really important war for the United States because this starts right after our revolution. We are a brand new country. We got a lot of debt from the revolution. We don't have a lot of friends. We don't have a lot of trading partners. So the war is a godsend for us. And our foreign policy for our first 25 years of nationhood is stay out of the war, keep making money. Pay off all those bills, start making some bank. And Salem is really, really good at this. This war is the difference between Salem in 1692, when, as you guys know, it is a village full of crazy people, and 1792, because this process has started and Salem has now become the 6th largest city in the country and the richest city per capita in the country. So not New York, not Boston, not Philadelphia, Salem, Massachusetts. And it's all about this maritime trade, and it really gets supercharged during these 25 years of warfare where the Europeans are all fighting each other and we stay out of it. It's a great situation. Stay out of the war, keep making money. Well, how'd we do? Eventually we're going to get dragged into the war, but we did great for 20 years, right? We nearly went to war with France in the 1790s, managed to stay out of it. Nearly went to war with Great Britain in 1807, managed to stay out of it. And meanwhile, the first millionaires in America are coming from Salem. The Derbys, the Crown and Shields, the Grays, the Peabodys. This is where the money is coming from. This is the Silicon Valley of America in 1800. This is where you go to get rich or die trying, Salem, Massachusetts. But when we do finally get dragged into that war in 1812, it all goes to shit very quickly. The carts, well, I was going to say the wheels come off the cart, the car comes off the wheels. Anyway, the whole thing falls apart. And we are no longer neutral, obviously. We've lost the ability to trade with both sides, and we're at war with who in the War of 1812? England. And they have the most powerful navy the world has ever seen. So we know what they're going to do. They're going to do the same thing to us that they did to all their enemies in Europe. They're going to send their fleet over to blockade the coast, shut down the trade, capture the ships. And if that happens to Salem, I mean, that's what we do. We're a one-trick pony. We really are like Silicon Valley. We do one thing. It's maritime trade. And when you pick a fight with the world's most powerful navy, it all goes away very quickly. So, spring of 1812, we're at war. We failed in our diplomacy, and everyone in Salem is unemployed. So the story of this schooner is that a group of young Salem sea captains who, again, they came to Salem to get rich or die trying. They wanted to make some money. They're ambitious young guys. They said, screw this war. We got a plan. We're going to pool our money. We're going to buy a fast little schooner. We're going to go out as privateers. And that's why we have the cannon, because what is privateering? No ideas? What do you think it looks like?
It's just pirating?
It looks like pirating, yeah. So pirates and privateers have a couple things in common. If you see them at work, you're going to see this. These guys in this boat chasing those guys in that boat so that they can catch up with them, take their stuff, and if they resist, they're going to kill those people. Pirates and privateers. One's legal, one's not. What makes privateering legal when piracy is clearly climbing its everything? It's wartime. and the government has declared war on somebody, and the government has said, we're authorizing privateering commissions, and now you can get this license to go out and capture, not anybody you can get your hands on, because that's piracy. Go out and try to capture enemy merchant ships. Then you got to bring them back. Pirates don't have to do this. You got to bring those captured ships and cargoes back and prove that they're enemy property. Then you get to sell the ship, sell the cargo, and keep most of the money.
Maritime navigators.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, now we got sunset. We got it all going on. It's almost time for the sunset gun. Very briefly about the cannon. If you're going to be a privateer, you got to have cannon, right? Sounds like a good idea to have some cannon. Yeah, people aren't just going to surrender because you say, tag, you're it. So Fame has two different kinds of cannon. Big cannon, which would be mounted on carriages on wheels, like the ones you see in the movies. The Coast Guard doesn't think we should have those, though, for obvious reasons. They weigh about 1,000 pounds. You need about a jib sock full of gunpowder to fire them. Yeah, the Coast Guard's not interested in that. But those are the cannons you use when you're firing at someone you're chasing or someone's chasing you. When you want to capture a ship, you're a pirate or a privateer, you don't want to damage the ship. Forget about the Johnny Depp movies. You don't want to get in cannon battles as a pirate or a privateer. What you want to do is intimidate the crew into surrendering, so they would have a whole bunch of these rail-mounted guns. They load these up like shotguns. These are to take out the crew, so you can capture the ship, cargo, and cap. You're not going to sink anybody with a shotgun, but boy, the crew hate having it pointed at them. Are you guys ready for a bang?
All right.
3, 2, 1, and then you guys all going to yell the magic words, which are...
Bang.
I didn't just see the magic there. Where's the magic? I was hoping for fire in the hole. Can we do fire in the hole? Let's do fire in the hole. All right, ready? All right. 3, 2, 1. Fire in the hole! That was the man right there. Ready for attack, Andrew? Well, you guys know the end of the story, right? We wouldn't have built a replica of a failed privateer. That would not be a good story. So you know the Fame is going to do something amazing and cool, and she does. As soon as the war begins, she sails up to British Canada and captures the first prizes of the war. Heartily. Yep, fill it that way. Go, 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 go. Otherwise, we're going to clean the clocks of these lobster boats over here. Nice. Yep, the Fame sails up to British Canada, arrives on the 4th of July, 1812, captures a ship and a brig way bigger than the Fame, brings them back to Salem, sells them for $7,000, which doesn't sound very impressive today, but was a lot of money they put. And that's what made the Fame famous, and that's why we have the cannon. And what a move, what an evening. We got sun, we got wind, we got it all, guys. We got it all. We got food.